Call the Willmar City Council meeting to order. Clerk Thompson, could we have roll call?
Mayor Calvin, Councilmember Fagerly,
Here.
Maskey,
Here.
Schwantes, Davis,
Here.
Alvarado,
Here.
Osmus, here, Plowman,
Here.
Nelson.
Here.
7 present, 2 absent.
We stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is there any proposed additions or deletions to the agenda? If not, need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, that carries. Consent items, Clerk Thompson.
On tonight's consent agenda, we have for council's approval the city council minutes of February 3rd, Willmar Municipal Utilities Board minutes of February 10th, Planning Commission minutes of February 5th, an application for appointment of Rebecca Shaleen to the Human Rights Commission, application for appointment to the Park and Recs Board for Chloe Quinn, application for exempt permit, Willmar Fest Incorporated, accounts payable report for January 30th through February 12th, council's acceptance, the building report for the month of January, police commission minutes of September 24th, 2019, and the Central Community Transit minutes of September 24th, 2019.
All right, thank you.
Move to approve.
Second.
Further discussion? We're going to have a roll call on this too then. Clerk Thompson?
Councilmember Fagerly,
Aye.
Maskey,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Alvarado,
Aye.
Osmus,
Aye.
Plowman,
Aye.
Nelson.
Aye.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
All right. Open forum, there's no one here to speak to us. Next item would be Finance Committee. Councilmember Nelson?
Thank you. The Finance Committee met at 5:15 on Thursday, February 6th at the City Office Building. Presents were Council Members Nelson, Fagerly, Plowman, and Davis. Also present was Finance Director Steve Opens. After the meeting was called to order, we did not have any public comments, and we have a few action items. The first one is to acknowledge donations. Staff brought us a list of fourth quarter donations received by the committee, and that requires a motion to accept. Thank you notes have been sent, and we're doing this on a quarterly basis. And so there was a motion made to accept the 2019 fourth quarter donations, which totaled $12,932.56. And I will enter that motion now, but I would like to read the individual donations are there, but I'd just like to acknowledge the businesses by name that did contribute that total. A Street Photography, Waltz, Fire Department, AED, and Police Explorer. A Street Photography, Beverly Ingleson, Mills Automotive, Beverly Falk, Willmar Area Community Foundation, Dunick Incorporated, Central Counties Cooperative, Print Masters of Willmar, Family Eye Center, Fisher Laser Center, Dooley's Petroleum, Fraternal Order of Eagles, Genio Turkey Store, Candy Dental, Hanson Advertising, and Northern Radiator. And I will enter that motion for $12,932.56.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Further discussion? I'd just like to say thank you to all the organizations and individuals for doing this. This is what makes Willmar a great place to live and work. So with that, we need a roll call on this.
Councilmember Maskey,
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
Alvarado.
Aye.
Osmus.
Aye.
Plowman.
Aye.
Nelson.
Aye.
Fagerly.
Aye.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Audrey?
Thank you. The next was a resolution to update the fund balance policy, and the committee had reviewed and discussed this several times. And so the addition to this is a reference to City Charter Article 3, the Community Investment Fund under Section 4, other policy considerations of the fund balance. The reasons discussed were due to the restrictive nature and number of findings required. It is also included by reference only to the length of the article and that any charter changes would automatically apply. It was then moved and seconded to approve and pass to introduce the resolution to amend the city fund balance to address the community investment fund, and I will enter that now.
Second. So we have a motion and a second. Further discussion? All right, we need a roll call on this too then. Clerk Thompson?
Councilmember Davis.
Aye.
Alvarado.
Aye.
Osmus. Aye. Plowman.
Aye.
Nelson.
Aye.
Fagerly.
Aye.
Maskey.
Aye.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
All right. Next one, Audrey?
All right. The next 4 resolutions are in reference to the Invest in Willmar preliminary budgets. The city of Willmar passed a half-cent local option sales tax in the fall of 2018 and received approval on the tax from the legislature in the spring of 2019. It took effect on October 21st. Architects, construction managers, and engineers have been selected for the 4 projects of Recreation Fields, Recreation Event Center, Robbins Island, and Swanson Field. Staff presented preliminary budgets for the projects based on the authorizing legislation. So it was moved and seconded to introduce a resolution to set the preliminary budget for the recreation fields at $6 million, and I will enter that now.
Second.
So we got a motion and a second to set the preliminary budget at $6 million for the recreation fields. Further discussion? Sean?
Just a quick reference. I mean, I don't remember a series of these. These are all the numbers that were actually quoted when the voters voted on these, are they not?
That is correct, and it's my understanding, so when we say preliminary budget, this is just to put it out there so that we can start, if there are bills that come from the contracts that we have now, basically it's out there. When we establish actual budgets, we will come back and modify these. So this is to correspond with what was approved at the legislature.
Any other questions? Clerk Thompson, roll call?
Councilmember Alvarado.
Aye.
Osmus. Aye. Plowman.
Aye.
Nelson.
Aye.
Fagerly.
Aye.
Maskey.
Aye.
Davis. Aye. 7 ayes, 0 nays.
All right, next one?
The second one was a resolution to set the preliminary budget for the Recreation Event Center at $10 million, and I'll enter that motion now.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second for the Recreation Event Center for a preliminary budget of $10 million. Questions? Roll call, Clerk Thompson?
Councilmember Osmus. Aye. Plowman.
Aye.
Nelson.
Aye.
Fagerly.
Aye.
Maskey.
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
Alvarado.
Aye.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Audrey?
All right, the third one is to introduce a resolution to set the preliminary budget for Robbins Island project at $3 million, and I'll enter that motion now.
Second.
Got a motion and a second for $3 million budget preliminary for Robbins Island. Further questions? Roll call?
Councilmember Plowman.
Aye.
Nelson.
Aye.
Fagerly.
Aye.
Maskey.
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
Alvarado.
Aye.
Osmus. Aye. 7 ayes, 0 nays.
All right, and the last one.
And the fourth one was to introduce a resolution to set the preliminary budget for Swanson Field project at $2 million, and I'll enter that motion now.
Second.
We got a motion and a second for preliminary budget for Swanson Field at $2 million. Sean?
Just to follow up it, why are we not seeing, I mean, I think these are all from Park and Rec. Why are we not seeing the other 2 projects?
Because these are the only ones that have contracts so far for, these are just the 4 that,
So when we go get contracts for others, we'll have 2
We'll have some more,
motions? Got it. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Roll call.
Councilmember Nelson.
aye.
Fagerly.
Aye.
Maskey.
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
Alvarado.
Aye.
Osmus. Aye. Plowman.
Aye.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Audrey?
All right. So the rest of the items were discussion items. The 2019 investment report included separate sections on interest dividends, fourth quarter activity, cash investment portfolio listing, historic interest dividend by quarters, investment balance by quarter 2019, investment activity, and market value history by quarter since 2009. There were two items that were highlighted in the report. The first was the amount of activity in the fourth quarter due to the market rate decline and number of agency investments being called. The second was the historical market value fluctuations and the need to have accurate cash flows to prevent the need to cash in any investments early. The next item was the 2019 Municipal Utilities Preliminary Financial Report, and we received that preliminary report for review. The staff of the MUC will be attending in a future meeting to discuss and explain any questions that the committee may have. And the last item was to just the investment policy review. Staff continues to work with Bremer Wealth Management on possible recommendations. This policy will be discussed at a future Finance Committee meeting. And there was no other business to come before the committee, and we adjourned at 5:50. And I will enter a motion to accept the minutes now.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the minutes. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Item 10, new liquor license for Jake's Pizza. Clerk Thompson.
Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council, before you is a request to approve an on-sale intoxicating 3-2 liquor license and on-sale wine liquor license for Jake's Pizza, which is located at 316 Litchfield Avenue Southwest. And it's staff's recommendation to approve the license.
What would the council like to do?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Further discussion? So do you know when they plan on having their grand opening?
I believe it's one of the first days in March. March 2nd, I
Long
think, or
way to-
6th, something. It's the beginning of March.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second to approve the 3-2 liquor license and on-sale wine. We need a roll call.
Councilmember Fagerly,
Aye.
Maskey,
Aye.
Davis. Aye. Alvarado.
Aye.
Osmus. Aye. Plowman.
Aye.
Nelson.
Aye.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Next item is consideration of appointing election judges for the 2020 presidential nomination primary. Clerk Thompson.
Mayor Pro Tem and members of the council, before you is the resolution appointing election judges for the 2020 presidential nomination primary election, which is scheduled for Tuesday, March 3rd of 2020. In accordance with the statutes, it's necessary to pass a resolution appointing the election judges. And it's staff's recommendation to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Second, we have a motion and a second to approve the election judges for the 2020 presidential nomination primary. So do we need to do this again for the general election in
We do.
November? Okay.
We do for the primary election in August and the general election in November.
Okay.
So we have 3 elections this year.
All right. Any other questions? Okay, roll call?
Councilmember Maskey,
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
Alvarado.
Aye.
Osmus.
Aye.
Plowman.
Aye.
Nelson.
Aye.
Fagerly.
Aye.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
All right, we're getting close to the end here. Council member announcements? Sean?
I'll pass.
Pass.
Fernando?
Yes, I've got a word. Thank you. I just wanted to remind the public that we've got these projects, they're starting to roll out, or we're getting some contractors and those sorts of things. And there's going to be inconvenience. I know Robbins Island, we're going to get through the Rock and Robbins project, and then we're going to be hitting it hard in August. So I'm planting the seed now. We're months out, but be prepared that Robbins Islands are going to see some construction. It's going to be an inconvenience. Just be aware of that. I don't want somebody says, I didn't tell you. It's going to be an inconvenience. Be prepared. And that's progress. Thank you.
Julie?
I'll pass.
Andrew?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Audrey?
I will pass.
I will pass also. So, announcements of council committee meetings. Public Works.
The meeting for this week, which would have been tomorrow, is canceled due to conflicts. We are tentatively going to schedule that for next week, the 26th at 5 PM. We do have until the end of this week, should that change. So affected council members will be notified via email.
Okay. Finance?
I'm going to apologize and defer to our city administrator. Do you know? I talked to Steve about not being here tonight, but I do not see it on the calendar, and I have to say I have not talked to him. So do you know if finance was scheduled to meet?
I think it's just be the normal
So-
scheduled cycle, yeah.
Yes, so we will get something out to confirm that to the council members, and I apologize for not knowing that, so,
For Thursday.
That should have been
Yeah.
Thursday.
Okay. Community Development, we'll be meeting Monday, 5:15. We'll be vetting the Renaissance project, so.
Labor will be
And
meeting
Labor.
right after you on February 24th at City Hall at 6:15.
All right. Anything more to come before the council?
Move to adjourn.
second.
We're adjourned.